This time around, 24 Hours of Appalachia brings us to beautiful Hinton, West Virginia, right along the New River for the miners and loggers' delight. If you've never been to one of these 24-hour rallies, when you first get into town, you always swing by registration, sign your papers, see your old friends, whatever it is, and then after that you head up onto Main Street, in this case, get tech inspected, and once your vehicle is approved and teched, you head on over and pick up your numbers. Once you get your rally numbers, you find a clear spot to put those on your bike, and then just kind of hang out and have a good time after that. Pretty simple startup for these events. The rally course this time was 3 loops, each totaling about 120-ish miles. There was loop 1, 2, 3, and loop 4 was the same as loop 2. This loop had the most off-road and the most technical features, so of course they're going to make us run that loop twice. All in all, the total course added up to about 500 miles, depending on where you had to get gas and whatnot. But yeah, so like I said before, everyone just kind of lines up for a little bit of a car show, hangs out, has a good time. It's really fun looking at the different rigs people have. There was bikes, side-by-sides, and full-size rigs running at this rally. I wasn't really sure how I was going to shake out, but it ended up being just fine, as we'll find out here in a little bit. So here is everyone showing up for the 8 p.m. riders meeting to go over all the details, rules, the course, everything like that. We even had the mayor of Hinton come out and speak with us. This is a super cool event. There's just so many people that show up to these. It's really unique to have this on the East Coast. You know, we know about rallies in the desert and whatnot, but here in Appalachia, it's a different thing. And it's really special. The next morning was an early one. A class had a 6 a.m. start, so I was awake and on the bike at 5:15, freezing my butt off on the way to the start. Side-by-sides left the line first at 6 a.m. in 1-minute intervals, followed by bikes with 30-second intervals. Then the full-size rigs left after the bikes, and I'm not entirely sure what their intervals was, but it was probably about a minute, same as the side-by-sides. It was fun on this one, getting to watch the side-by-sides go. Some of these guys doing burnouts right in front of the cops and stuff. Pretty fun. So here, pulling up to the start, everybody lining up and staging. I realized I completely forgot to start the Gaia tracker, and so I had to hurry up and do that. That would have been bad. We'll touch on that later. This here is Jed. He's the man that puts all this together. Thank you, Jed. We love you. We love the rallies and hope they continue forever. So while these starts aren't like a hair scramble or a moto, I still get a little bit of nerves, but it's mostly just hoping I don't get lost in town. On my first thing right off the bat, it happens. It's confusing, and there's a lot of little lines on that map. I did mark which direction to go, and thankfully that really helped me out on this one. I'm not entirely sure what happened here. I wasn't really even too close to this guy. He just decided to almost drive off the mountain. Thankfully, he pulled it back together. This is Dustin, one of my buddies, just giving him a hard time. And this is just a couple miles outside of town, and we're already into the gravel. You can see here the dust. The dust would be a feature of the rest of this rally. It was super dry, and it actually made this gravel really slippery. Dustin decided to let me by. I think my super awesome headlight was annoying him. That's okay. I just sped off and didn't see him again for a while. One of the great things about doing these 24-hour rallies is you're riding from before sunrise to well into the night. It's just such a unique thing to do, to ride all day, you know, over 500 miles. You see so many different things and just go through a full range of temperatures, and it's great. This is just a feature that started this rally for whatever reason. I don't know why this guy was driving off the road too. for whatever reason, he just wouldn't let me by. Found a little gap coming up here, and I just went for it, and thankfully it worked because I was tired of the dust. See you later, guy. So this here is Justin. It's we were running the same pace for basically this whole rally, and we ended up riding together a handful of times just randomly. I wouldn't see him for hours, and then we're riding together for 20 minutes, and then I wouldn't see him for hours, and then we're riding together. So that was kind of fun. This is one of the things you got to watch out for in West Virginia: dogs. So you got to wave. You got to have good dog karma so they don't attack you. Oh man, coming up here, this creek crossing, one of those bridges where the water flows over it. And Justin came in too hot and just instantly wiped out. It was icy in there. You can see my front wheel is not even pointed straight for the whole crossing. I had both my feet dragging like skis on the ground the whole way across, and it was slippery. I don't know what this side-by-side is doing. I don't know. He thought he was going to go ahead of us, but guess not. Anyways, back on the road. You know, one of the things about these rallies is it's not a race. It is a rally. They set a maximum moving average speed of 35 miles per hour. So that means when you finish the rally, you cannot have an average moving speed faster than 35 miles per hour. So you need to manage that speed. You might think that like 35 miles per hour is slow. Whenever you stretch it out over 500 miles, going through towns 15 miles per hour, going through trails real slow, it's actually a pretty fast moving average. Since this is a rally and not a race, and we are on public roads, you got to do the speed limits. You don't want to make people upset. We got to make sure we take care of these communities so we can continue to do these types of rallies. That essentially means is if you want to in the top numbers, then you need to turn it up and really hammer it when you're off-road to keep that pace up. And that just makes it fun. Now, this isn't a hair scramble, so you need to manage your energy too. It's still pretty fun to get out there and get off-road and get your adrenaline going, and it really helps wake you up. Some beautiful views with some beautiful aggressive dogs. But yeah, if you have any questions about how these formats work, just please feel free to ask. I know before you kind of do one of these things, it just might seem a little confusing, but once you get out here and do it, it's really just kind of like a big organized ride with a couple rules and a scoreboard at the end. So it's pretty fun. Nice covered bridge, stretching my legs out here, getting some photos. A 360 camera makes you look like you're going real fast, but you're not. And here we are again, a couple hours later, back with Justin. You can just see the dust out on these roads, you know, just a side-by-side or a couple guys headed through before you, and it's just this constant haze. First thing in the morning, too, we had the dust with the fog, and it just covered everything. So wrapping up the first lap, pulling back into the Hinton depot. This is where the finish line was for every lap. Came into the same exact spot, gave me your number and your name, and then headed back out. Crossing the bridge again, headed across the New River to start lap 2. I just loved it every time coming into town here. This valley is just so pretty, and it's just amazing place to spend a day. That was Jed and one of the media guys there in the side-by-side. And that's me approving of the view. Yes, sir. So pretty quick after you start lap 2, you are into some of the most aggressive off-road in this whole rally. This section was super muddy. and I'm not one of those guys that likes mud. I go around it. I don't trust it. That hole could be 3 inches deep or 30 feet deep. I have no idea, but I'm not going to find out. But this loop 2 had a ton of really chunky, rocky, rutted off-road, and it was just a blast. At this point, I'm still feeling pretty good in the rally. 120, 130 miles in. Feeling good, feeling settled in. Feel like I got my pace going. Although that wasn't going to last for long, but it's when you're riding for this long, there are ups and there are downs. A little side-by-side roadblock, probably out here relieving himself. So I'm from Pennsylvania, and the terrain in Pennsylvania and West Virginia is very similar. The one thing I will say is that in West Virginia, it feels like you go up mountains for an eternity and down mountains for an eternity. It's just like the hills are just so much bigger than Pennsylvania. You're just going up and up and up and up forever. Almost hammered that washout. Couldn't see it until you're right up on it, and that would have hurt a little bit, especially bouncing right into a bend there. So this is one of those areas you need to be really careful with. I mean, this is like, it's basically this guy's driveway. You go right next to his house. So you gotta take your time, put it in a higher gear so your bike's not loud. Just go slow. This next spot, I'm pretty sure, is what they refer to as Mutiny Hill. And while it was not hard, it was definitely rocky. And there was a few off-camber spots and some interesting shaped rocks in the trail. Like this, they kind of push you right off the hill. At this point in the rally, I was feeling it. I don't know, it's probably 160 miles or so, 180 miles in, and I just, for whatever reason, I was so tired. Like, I was riding lazy. Like, this is a turn, and I just made these dumb mistakes. I couldn't even get up this little turn. I was just tired and worn out, and it's just, if you've ever done long rides, you'll know there's periods where your body's just shutting down. It's done. It wants you to get off the bike. You can't find a single comfortable position, and you just end up riding lazy, and you don't focus on any of the stuff you need to be focusing on. Nice fella here, let me pass. Thank you. Yeah, so I feel like basically all of lap 2, I was just managing. I think I needed to eat. And the way I had my camera mounted to my helmet, I couldn't get food in my mouth while I was moving through my helmet. So that's something that'll need to be worked out in the future. But as you can see here, I was still out there having fun, even though I was tired. I found this little jump in front of the driveway. Nice little ski jump descend. It never shows up on GoPro, but some of these downhills are so steep, and the gravel is just so loose. Like, you literally might as well be riding on ice. That was the first time I ended up in the ditch. This here is Ashland Resort. It's a place where side-by-sides go and ride a bunch. It was like the only gas on loop 2, so it was a mandatory hit for me. Coming through the town of Crumpler here. Really feeling at this point, just dragging ass. So here's a good little thing. If you end up doing these and you come to these spots where it's hard to tell which way you go on the route, take a second. Because like taking a second and looking at your map and making sure you're confident about which direction you're going is much faster than going the wrong way for 30 seconds. Because that means you gotta come back 30 seconds. Thank you, sir. Coming through. This is a really fun rocky uphill. In the night portion, you can really see how chunky it is with the headlight. God, my mouth is just getting dry watching this buzz dust. This guy, for whatever reason, I don't even know if he was part of the rally or what, but he would not let me go, and he was hammering on it. He was really revving that thing out, but he just making dust, wasn't going that fast. So at this point, I saw what I thought was Justin go by. I think it was. I'm not sure. And it freaked me out, so I stopped and I looked at the map. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Just let this guy go. I'll get away from him a little bit. And thankfully, the route turned off right up ahead, so I didn't have to follow him anymore. But I was behind him for miles, probably like 10 miles, driving me crazy, and just nowhere to pass. If you have an interest in rallies or adventure riding, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe. I got plenty of more fun stuff to come, and the goal here is really just to keep developing this community. There's so many good people in it, and putting more out there and meeting more people is really the goal of this whole thing. So yeah, please give me a like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Little two-wheel slide right there. Almost lost it, but we saved it. It was fine. So the first 24-hour rally I did, I rode my Tenere 700. Whenever I was doing that one, I was like, next time I'm 100% riding my Husky. And for this whole rally, I kind of debated whether it was better on the Husky or I would have preferred to have my Tenere. His rocky sections, like we just went through, are so much easier on the Husky, but I can do them on the Tenere. But then sections like this, it's like, well, the Tenere is nice. Coming through the side-by-side party here, just creating traffic in the woods. It's cool. You know, anyways, about the Tenere, I think like I brought the right bike, and next time I will be riding the Husky again. It was definitely uncomfortable. My body was way sore than it should have been, but we made it through. This is a good way to pass here. Like, just let him know. You don't got to be mean about it, but like, I gave this guy a little beep, and like, as soon as he had a spot to pull off, he let me by. Not a big deal. And the guy up here even like pulled off as well. He must have radiated ahead, so I appreciate that, guys. At this point, I'm starting to get a little bit of a second wind. whenever I find a good off-road section, it gets me real jazzed up because I love that stuff. So coming through that rocky downhill and that creek crossing gave me a little bit of energy. And here's another thing, just from like racing, it's just you see someone up ahead of you, it's like you gotta catch them. This was wild. This guy, he's mowing here, and his brush hog kept hitting the edge of the pavement and absolutely showering us in gravel. It was hitting all over the place. You hear it hitting your helmet, feel it on your jacket. This only took us a couple minutes though, and then he let us by. And there is my second time in the ditch. How about that? It's usually at least two. It happens. Down here in this creek bottom, the route, it looked like it just went straight through, but there was trails everywhere. It wasn't super obvious where to go. You know, you don't know. The trail looks like it goes straight, but then all of a sudden it goes left and you need to go right. It's just another one of those situations where it's worth taking a minute and like thinking about it. Now that I think about it, probably should just rode straight down the middle of the creek. So at this point, coming back in at the end of lap 2, and I was just dead, no energy at all. Yeah, I had nothing. Pulling into the depot for the checkpoint, I knew I had to get gas after this one, and I was planning to get some food, which helped. That was basically my issue, is I was just hangry this whole time. Got to figure out a better solution for eating on these. Filling up. It was really wild. The people in the town were like interested in what's going on. I had multiple people at red lights and stuff ask me, "Hey, did you finish?" or "Hey, you still going?" You know, everyone wanted to know what was going on. It was nice to feel supported. So here we are off on lap 3. So lap 3 on this one was a lot of pavement and like really easy back road, gravel road type riding. It was really pretty the whole time, and there was a really flat, fast gravel section. For the most part, this loop felt like a break. It was really nice. It was a little boring, but I really enjoyed it. It was easy, it was calm, kind of let me get my energy back, let my food digest a little bit, and I really enjoyed it. It's cows. Hey cows. And here's Justin again. A little bit of confusion here. He looked back, and I was going the other way, and I was like, I gotta go for gas. And he's like, no, we go this way. I'm like, I know, but I gotta go this way for gas. I think he got it. I don't know. I just went because I had to get gas. But anyways, went into town to get gas. But before I mention that these rallies are all about raising money, so each one of these has a title charity. This time it was Wheeling for Hope. Their mission is to raise suicide awareness and prevention and help unite communities and people through four-wheeling in West Virginia. Whenever you sign up for these rallies, at registration they ask for a $100 donation, and that money goes right to the charity. I mean, that's kind of the main point of these. Like, yes, we're out here riding bikes and having fun, but might as well use that to do something good. And this time around, I believe we raised $18,000 for the charity. So undoubtedly that's going to go to help some people. So we're back in Hinton after lap 3 for the start of lap 4. Here I decided just hit the checkpoint, get gas, and get back out of town, no stopping at all, just as quick as I could. And we were back into the off-road section just outside of town. At this point I was actually feeling super good. Like, I had energy, I was focused, I was having fun, I was excited for this loop. Before the race, everyone was saying this was the hard loop, and I'm like, man, lap 4 is going to really suck. You know what? For me, it was actually really great. This lap 4 was the best I felt for this entire race. The sun was getting low in the sky, and we were headed towards the night. Giving a fist bump. Started to lose my mind on this at this point also. When you're on the bike for this long, you start to go a little loopy. Luckily for me, my loopy was being in a positive mood. One thing I did do actually, when I stopped back a little bit for gas, is I switched my gloves and goggles. That was a huge thing for me. Even though nothing was wet, just having the dust in the gloves and the dust in your goggles, you don't think about it, but they just start to feel gross. And whenever I put on new gloves and new goggles, it was a complete game changer. Back over here at Ashland Resort for the mandatory gas stop on lap 4. This is the final gas stop of the rally. That's something that really starts to help you stay positive in these long rallies. You know, over 400 miles, your body's not happy. Even though I was feeling pretty good, you're still tired. But just you start to realize that, like, okay, this is the final lap. This is my final gas stop. This is the final off-road section. You start making these checklists that really help drive you forward. Here's that off-road section I mentioned earlier that you can really see just how rocky and chunky it is when it gets dark. This is a super fun section. For me personally, I actually really like riding in the dark. I feel like with the headlight, you can see things a lot better. The headlight just creates so much contrast of the rocks in front of you that it really helps you see what's coming. More side-by-side traffic jams. And here I'm catching some bikes up ahead of me, and I was hoping they were part of the rally. And here I realized, I think it was Dustin up there. So I followed him, and in front of him was Will. I followed them for a little while until we got held up by a line of side-by-sides, creating more dust than I've ever seen in my life. And here's Will. We're coming up on these side-by-sides I mentioned. It's a real shame that the GoPro doesn't show just how dusty it is. We can't see anything. You can barely breathe. And this big line of side-by-sides is doing about 10 miles per hour. So I wasn't about that. I just turned my headlight off and started sneaking by them. Just too much dust, too slow. I had places to be. I wasn't trying to be mean. I hope I didn't upset anybody, but see ya. There was literally like 15 of these things in a row. And when I got past the lead guy here, he saw me. I made my way by. I didn't roost him. I didn't create tons of dust. I just slowly pulled away from him just to get out in front and keep running my rally. This is over in the Ashland area. There's just so many side-by-sides over here. It's kind of crazy, honestly. There we go. Out of the dust. And time to send it. There's some great road riding on these rallies. Really, in West Virginia, there's just no bad roads. Everything's twisty, everything's hilly, and just views. It's great. Basically, no matter where you go. It's kind of fun sliding through these corners on full rally. And I felt something hit my shifter, so I stopped and made sure everything was still working, and before I continued on. But this is a great spot where you can really see what I mean about the headlight creating the contrast. Because if it's smooth, it's not going to show anything. But if there's ruts or rocks, they just have a shadow behind them that shows them off. Now this video is already long enough, but to kind of keep it short, I cut through this section. These off-road sections are fairly long, 10 plus miles long, or even more in some cases. But these off-road sections are really just too long to show all of them. I mean, the video would be hours long if we did that. I think they were part of the rally. I'm not sure. They're just hanging out with the fire. If we go back to the 35 mile per hour average moving speed limit on these rallies, off-road sections like this is where you have the opportunity to make up some of that speed if you need to. While I don't think it's wise to run these as fast as a hair scramble, because if you get a flat or you wreck or you break something, that's just gonna take longer than if you were to just slow down a little bit but still kind of move at a fast pace. I saw this backpack up here. It's the same backpack that Dustin has, and I was like, how the hell did he get in front of me? But then I realized, it's Justin again. Not Dustin, it's Justin. And followed him for a minute through this section, and I was interested in moving a little quicker, so whenever I saw a safe spot to head on by him, I just jumped right out in front. And just like I was saying not to run these at hair scramble pace, here I am running it at a extremely high rate of speed, hoping I don't get a flat. I chose to run IRC tires on this rally. I rode had an M5B on the rear and the VE33S, I think it is, on the front. They were really great. My rear was completely gone at the end, but the front actually held up pretty good. It's definitely dead. They're not usable anymore, but to do 500 miles of road and off-road riding and to have them hold up the whole time and feel good the whole time, I was very happy with the way they felt. Coming through this section, I didn't want to get ahead of myself, but I was kind of feeling like I remember this was the last off-road section before you get to the creek bottom. And I knew the creek bottom was really close to the end. So I was feeling good. I was trying not to get ahead of myself here. And then I started coming up to some trucks. I was really surprised. I expected to see more full-size rigs on my fourth lap, which is their second lap. But I only saw a couple of these guys out there. I gotta tell you, everyone looks at the bikes and they're like, there's no way I would ever do this on the bike. But I'm like done with this rally at 15 hours in. And these guys, they still are on lap 2. They still got 10 hours left to go. That's a lot. And I know you're in a comfy seat and you can eat and drink and stuff and relax, but geez, man, that is so much. So I give these guys a lot of props out here bouncing through the woods. Sneak by a 4Runner guy, and as soon as I did, I'm like, shit, I don't know where I'm going. These were the last vehicles I saw for the whole rally. Decided to give him a little bit of space here until I saw a decent place to pass. And I'll just jump up ahead. He gave me a little bit of room there. Thank you very much. And then this Jeep, I was like, oh, I'm just going to ride up their hill. I can go up there, get around them. Hop in front, done. And we're off to the races again. I had to fight the urge this whole time to like zoom my map out. You know, zoom it out and see how close you are to the finish, because I'm like, man, if I zoom it out and I still see that I have 60 miles left to go, I'm just going to be devastated. So I didn't zoom it out, I just toughed it out. But I will say at a certain point, I saw that the New River was, like, the blue was on the map, and that was like drinking an energy drink, man. It was just like, hell yeah, we did it, we finished. If you come out and ride one of these rallies, no matter what, it's an accomplishment. Like, don't worry about placing good. Just come out, have fun, and finish it. Because riding over 500 miles in 24 hours of off-road is extreme. So I forgot to film the finish line, but I ended up finishing 5th in A class with a total time of 15 hours and a total stopping time of 19 minutes. I believe there were 180 rigs that started the rally and only 80 of us that finished it. So just finishing the rally is quite an accomplishment. Once we wrapped up, we just kind of hung out at the finish line and had a beer and told stories and laughed, and then went to bed really hard. So the next morning I woke up to see my cabin for the first time, because I had only got there in dark Friday and Saturday night. My absolutely destroyed M5 Beat. Here's the front. So for this rally, I ran the Green Chili Adventure Gear Hardcore Rack. This thing worked out perfect. It's out of the way, it doesn't weigh anything. It let me carry spare fuel and my tire tools. I could not have been more happy with it. For Sunday, after the rally, they always have a banquet and an award ceremony to kind of talk about the rally, tell stories. You know, they're always a lot of fun. They give out hand prizes and talk about the charity again and how much money was raised. And if you're worried that you don't have the right bike, this guy finished. So just saying, just bring whatever bike you got, run it, and have fun. But this is the end of the rally. The next one is in Kentucky. It's the invite-only rally, and I'll have another video for that one. And I can't wait to get back out there. So thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for the next video. Oh, and go down to Hinton, West Virginia and check it out. It is just, it's incredible down there. It's so beautiful. If you like the outdoors, if you like riding, it's a great place to do a home base and ride from there. So thanks for watching, and until next time.